Alright, let's do this d sub x determinant with the general technique. So I'm going to do it down here at the bottom. So the determinant of, let me get a marker here, the determinant of d sub x is the determinant of the matrix 13, negative 1, negative 2, 3, negative 3, negative 1, and 32, 5. 32, 5. And I could have wrote this down for this one as well. The determinant of the D matrix is the determinant of 3, negative 1, negative 2. Probably should have done this. 5, negative 3, negative 1, and 4, 2, 5. And for the down minus up technique, it's kind of scrap work. It's the determinant of this is found by using this down minus up technique, and then it equals this, which became negative 54. For the general technique, I have to pick a pivot row or a pivot column. And the decision is, it doesn't matter which one you pick, you'll always get the same answer. I always pick the one that has the numbers that are closest to 0 or the most zeros themselves. So no zeros in this, but column 2, the negative 1, negative 3, 2 are the three numbers closest to 0. Negative 2, negative 1, 5 is also pretty good, but that's one I would pick. So remember, the pivots look like this. It's always plus, minus, plus, and then minus, plus, minus, and then plus, minus, plus. Don't leave them there. I'm just showing them there so you can see how any row or any column, how that would look. I'm going to erase the ones I'm not using because I'm only using the middle column, which would be plus, minus, plus. Right? And here's how this works. You take the pivot number and do the sign change. So I'm changing negative 1, or a negative 1 becomes a positive 1, times the determinant of the matrix that you find by covering the row and the column that the negative 1 is in. So I cover the column that the negative 1 is in, and I cover the row that the negative 1 is in, and then what's left uncovered is the 2 by 2 that you're going to take the determinant of. So uncovered is 3, negative 1, and 35. 3, negative 1, and 35. All right? And then we do the same for the next pivot. Let me erase these cover-ups. And next I look at the next number in this column. It's a positive negative 3. A plus or minus stays minus. So I write down a minus 3 or a negative 3. And I'm taking the determinant of the matrix that's found by covering up the column that the negative 3 is in and the row that the negative 3 is in. And the numbers that are uncovered are 13, negative 2, 35. So I write down to 13, negative 2, 30, and 5. Let me erase that cover up as well. And then finally, I take this last number in the second column. It's a negative, positive 2. Negative or positive is negative. So I write down the negative 2. And it's going to be multiplied by the determinant of, I cover up the column that the negative, or the column that that 2 is in, this 2, and the row that that 2 was in, and the remaining numbers, 13, negative 2, 3, and negative 1, make my third matrix that I'm taking the determinant of. So 13, negative 2, 3, negative 1. And we find those determinants the same way we always found them. So this is equal to, I dropped an equal sign when I erased the cover-ups. So let me erase these cover-ups again so we can see the matrix in full. And doing this math, same way we found 2 by 2 determinants before, it's 1 times, and I'm going to do these in my head, so I'll call them out. 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract off parentheses, 30 times negative 1 is negative 30. So 1 times that answer. Negative 3 times 13 times 5 is 65. Subtract off 30 times negative 2 is negative 60. And finally, negative 2 times 13 times negative 1 is negative 13. Subtract off 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. All right, that equals 1 times this answer is going to be that answer. So 15 minus a negative 30 is 15 plus 30, or positive 45. Minus 3 times 65 minus a minus 60 is 65 plus 60, or a positive 125. And then negative 2 times negative 13 plus 6 is a negative 7. So this becomes 45. Negative 3 times 125 is negative 175, or correction, negative 375. And then negative 2 times negative 7 is a positive 14. So this becomes negative 375. 45 and 14 is positive 59. So negative 375 and positive 59, negative 316. That's a big number for the determinant of d sub x, but pretty confident that the math is correct, so negative 316. All right. Okay, take a moment, hit pause, write that down, because I'm going to erase the d sub x determinant so I can fit the d sub y in. So let's just write this up here. My d determinant was negative 54. My d sub x determinant is negative 316. So let me hit pause and erase this, and we'll come back and do the d sub y determinant and the d sub z. All right, let's do the determinant of d sub y. So the determinant of d sub y matrix, is the determinant of 3, 5, 4, 13, 3, 30, and negative 2, negative 1, 5. We're going to do this one with down minus up. So I'm just going to use this matrix here. It's a little bit unkempt to just write the next 2 columns and do down minus up on this notation, but it's fine. You get the drift. So I'm going to rewrite the first 2 columns, the 3, 5, 4, and the 13, 3, 30. I'm going to do my 3 downs. I'll just keep them the same color this time. 3, 3, 5, 13, 1, negative 1, 4, and negative 2, 5, 30. Those are my 3 downs. And then my 3 ups. We do blue. 4, 3, negative 2, 30, negative 1, 3, and 5, 5, 13. So my 3 ups. So let's do that pretty quick. I want to do some of this in my head. 3 times 3 is 9, times 5 is 45, plus 13 times negative 1 is negative 13, times 4 is negative 52, plus negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, times 30 is negative 300. Subtract big parentheses. Now let's do our ups. 4 times 3 is 12, times negative 2 is negative 24, plus 30 times negative 1 is negative 30, times 3 is negative 90, plus 5 times 5 is 25, and 13 25s is 13 25s. 10 25s is 250. 3 more 25s is 75. 250 is 75 is 325. So our last up, 325, positive 325. So doing this math, it's negative 352 and 45 more. So negative 352, 45. Subtracting off, I know my answer is going to be negative. So 5, 4, 12. I get a 7, a 0, a negative 307. So this negative 307 are these 3 numbers. subtract off parentheses 325 and a negative 114. So 325 minus 114. My answer is going to be positive here. So that's a positive 211. So subtract those off. Negative 307, take away 211 is a negative 518. So squeeze that in right here. The determinant of the D sub y matrix is negative. Here, I just make some room here. Erase my little scrap work. Negative 518. All right, I'm going to hit pause, erase this, and we'll do the D sub Z matrix with the submatrix manipulation, the general technique. All right, I went ahead and erased. I put the determinant of the D sub Z matrix up. It's the determinant of 3, negative 113, 5, negative 3, 3, 4, 2, 30, this D sub Z matrix. And I'm going to pick the middle column is a good pivot column again. It's probably the best one. I'm going to pick the middle row. I suggest you do the middle column. I'm going to do the middle row, and you'll see it's the same answer. So plus, minus, plus. This middle row is minus, plus, minus. And then we're going to pivot off that. I'm going to go a little faster this time. So I'm not going to do the cover-ups. I'm going to let you see them. So it's I'm going to let you discover those yourself. But it's a negative 5 times parentheses. When I cover those up, I'm left with this determinant of, let me erase this here. The determinant of, and it leaves negative 113, 230. Negative 113, 230. We'll do that determinant in a moment. Plus a minus 3 is a minus 3 times the determinant of, cover up the column in the row, it leaves 313, 430, 313, 430. And then minus a 3 is minus 3. And the determinant of, cover up the column in the row, it leaves 3, negative 142. And let's do these determinants and we'll simplify. Negative 5 times negative 30 subtract 26. So negative 30 subtract 26. Negative 3 times 90 subtract 52. 90 subtract 52. Negative 3 times 6 subtract a negative 4. 6 subtract a negative 4. This becomes negative 5 times a negative 56. Minus 3 times a 90 minus 52 is 38. Positive 38. Minus 3 times 6 minus a negative 4 is 6 plus 4, or 10. So negative 5 times negative 56 is a positive 280. Negative 3 times 38 is a negative 114. Yep. And negative 3 times 10 is a negative 30. So I get 280 minus 114 minus 30. 280 subtract off a 144, which gives me a 136. So the determinant of D sub Z is 136. So the ratios turn out to be x equals negative 316 divided by negative 54, which turns out to be 158 over 27. Y equals negative 518 over negative 54, which turns out to be a positive 259 over 27. And Z equals 136 over a negative 54, which turns out to be a negative 68 over 27. So I'm going to hit pause, write it as an ordered triplet, and show you the check with the last 6 seconds. Here's the ordered triplet, and I use the first equation to verify.